Welcome back to the I Just Love Footy YouTube channel, and today we're going to talk about why I think Port Adelaide are pretenders in 2024. While we dissect and address some of those points, I want you to keep one key fact in mind throughout this video. This season, Port Adelaide, albeit within the first two games, are conceding a scoring shot 55% of the time. The ball goes into their defensive 50. That has them ranked 4th behind North Melbourne, Essendon and West Coast, who have been perpetual failures in the defensive realm for the last 5 or so years. Last year, the worst team being West Coast were conceding a scoring shot 52% of the time their opposition went into West Coast's defensive 50. Now you're probably wondering, well, where does that stem from? Why is Port Adelaide conceding 55% of the time the ball goes into their defensive 50? From a team standpoint, if we look at the game against West Coast, Port Adelaide allowed 4 goals from defensive transitions for West Coast, who were only able to score 2 goals per game from that category. And then they also allowed 2 goals from kick-ins, and teams last season were averaging half a goal from that. So that suggests that Port Adelaide are allowing teams to move the ball from end to end bruise-free and actually resulting in easier shots on goal. Based on the average expected score per shot at goal in general play for West Coast and Richmond against Port Adelaide, they were expected to score half a goal from each of those shots generated from general play, which has Port Adelaide second in the league for essentially allowing the easiest shots on goal in general play against opposition so far this season. They conceded 70 points against West Coast. They conceded 92 points against Richmond at the G, who are not known for their ability to transition their ball and actually thrive typically on their forward half turnovers. So that's 160 points odd against 2 teams who are touted to finish in the bottom 4 this year. 160 points in 2 games is far too much for a team like Port Adelaide versing these caliber of teams in Richmond and West Coast, especially when you consider Port Adelaide are conceding 46 inside 50s over the course of these 2 games on average. So to be conceding 80 points each game from 46 opposition inside 50s is very alarming. There are situations where players are losing aerial contests, which breaks open the game, or a defensive zone lapse when they're defending their forward half. There are a few things happening there, but it's easier being said than actually to get fixed. But this seems like it's been an issue that has extended beyond just 2024, which is the most concerning thing for Port Adelaide right now. Now, these players haven't been spoken too much about just yet this season, but Radagolia, Lockie Jones, and Zerk Thatcher haven't gotten up to the greatest starts. And like I said, the points against and talks to that a little bit more, and some of the footage you're seeing where there's been some poor impacts in the contest for these players. So when you turn the table and ask, well, why are Port such a great team when you watch them? Well, you're probably enthralled by the fact that their ability to move the ball from end to end is absolutely first class. And that's thanks to players like Ryan Burden and Dan Houston. From there, once you get the ball into the hands of Zach Butters and Rosie, players like Charlie Dixon and Todd Marshall are having a field day. Just quickly, if you are enjoying this content, please consider subscribing. I will be dissecting teams' performances throughout the year, so give us a sub and we'll get back to the video. Port Adelaide are taking 21 marks per game inside 50 right now, which is astronomical. So when your upper echelon players are performing like that and stringing together sequences in the way that they're doing right now, is allowing them to score at such a high clip. But in the end, we know defense wins premierships and not attack. So I think Port Adelaide and Ken Hinkley still have a lot to answer, and it starts this weekend against Melbourne, a team that is very robust defensively and have improved their transition game very well. So they're going to have many avenues to score. This matchup really could expose Port Adelaide, or are they able to flick the switch having played against 2 lesser opponents? It's harder to get up against teams like West Coast and Richmond who aren't doing so well in the AFL right now. But now you've got a team like Melbourne who are up and about. It's a top of the table clash. Maybe this is where Port Adelaide, like I said, they flick the switch and they're able to defend cohesively as a team and have better individual performances. We can put a tab on it now and look back at this season in retrospect, looking at Port Adelaide's performance. And if they haven't made a prelim or a grand final, we'll know their kryptonite will be their poor defensive output. And if they come up against other teams like Sydney, who move the ball very well and are very sound defensively from a team standpoint, then I think we'll see the difference in what it takes to be a premiership side versus a team that's just sort of making up the numbers in the 8. And if you want to see how Sydney are going right now, then please consider watching this video where I dissect a bit of their game against Essendon. Thanks guys, see you next time, bye.